Hey guys, Kyle, the Death Knight of Anime here, bringing you my review for My Hero Academia Season 4, Episode 11. So, yeah, I've got some things to talk about with this episode because even before sitting down to watch this episode, I definitely heard some things. And okay, here's the thing. Even despite hearing a lot of the stuff that pretty much I did on this episode, I tried to go in with about as open a mind as I could. And and after so yeah, I went in I sat down, went in with as much of an open mind as I could, and after watching it, let's just say I really want to be a fly on the wall during the production because a good majority of this episode was just kind of like the best way I can describe it is inconsistent. And like every like there were good moments, but for every good moment there was like one that kind of had me either shaking my head or scratching my scalp. And to be upfront and fair, it got slightly better by the second half of the episode. But again, this is really honestly just an episode where for every one or two decent moments, there was like three or four that was just that like just felt completely off the mark, be it in artwork or animation. And sadly, a good majority of the latter did happen when Mirio was focused on, which really sucks because this was such a pivotal moment for his character, and it feels like Bones really screwed this up. Like they, they, again, it's the art and animation isn't god awful. I may as well set that record straight, but it is not. It definitely is basically subpar compared to like if you were to compare this to to basically Bones' other work on like film. Again, I know I keep drawing back on this, but if you were to compare this to like Bones' work on like Full Metal Alchemist 2003 or Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, it would be a night and day difference. It really freaking would. And like I yeah, it's not good. It's not good. And the only way I can rationalize it right now is that they're saving a good chunk of the budget for the final fight, but yeah, Bones really dropped the ball on this one. And between this episode and the past couple episodes, I really want to see what's been going on behind the scenes of Bones, because these basically last couple episodes of My Hero Academia, like compared to the first chunk of episodes, these last couple episodes have been really hit and miss for some reason. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but something is definitely wrong. I definitely know that much. Um, of course, looking past that, I suppose we definitely got to talk about that moment where Mirio revealed his quirk's abilities, and the preceding reveal after that he only did it because of Shin's quirk confession. And just with this moment alone, and honestly, there are so many layers to this one moment that absolutely shits on the olden age shonen trope of revealing your abilities, or basically how you did something to an opponent. Because just from just from and part of it all just started just from Miro admitting his mistake alone. But the fact that the series basically took that trope and turned it into an actual quirk is really kind of amazing, because it's basically saying this is yeah this is basically how this is it's basically saying this that pretty much this is basically how you utilize it in a combat scenario correctly. And I mean, it's something honest, and it's not something new. Obviously, I mean, we've seen it done. We've seen this done correctly since like JoJo and even Yu Yu Hakusho, believe it or not. But yeah, it's just one of those things where yeah, my hero just kind of took the ultimate spit on it by pretty much like by making an actual quirk out of the damn trope. So like, yeah, what what can you say to that? It's like the ultimate it's the ultimate spin in the face to that trope. It's one of the ultimate spin in the faces to that trope, at least top five for sure. Um, Also, I guess I guess you could say, putting art and animation aside, this was still a very emotional moment for Mirio, as in many respects this episode showed the defining difference of why he's honestly a better hero than All Might, which is basically how both Mirio and All Might have perceived weakness. To Mirio, weakness is a key quality of what can make you a hero, because it helps you understand and relate to the vulnerabilities and weaknesses of others. Like sharing your weaknesses is how you can kind of is how you can reflect your pretty much feelings onto people, and how you can use those experiences in order to build people up. And but and whereas All Might, on the other hand, he basically tried at every turn in order to hide his weakness, because he felt the burden of being the symbol of peace just wouldn't allow it. But if he had shown maybe just a little weakness and vulnerability, then maybe society wouldn't have felt so lost without him, or even after losing his powers. Whereas Mirio, even after losing his quirk, just kind of kept on pushing. He kept on pushing. He did not falter for an instant, and he basically kept fighting, even though his quirk was supposedly like taken away from him because of that quirk bullet. And and you see, so, which, yeah, we definitely need to talk about that. Also, on a side note to the fight itself, I love how Mirio using his cape as a means of combat to dodge in order to dodge their attacks was just another like jab and subversion at how hero capes can be used for basically more than looking cool. Like in this case, hero capes can be useful in combat. It's just about how you use it. And yeah, I wish I think we have seen heroes in comics do that before too, I think, but it's like, yeah, it's one of those things where you look back on it and say, why don't heroes do this more? Like, it would save so much trouble if they did. um, and yeah, like I said, let's talk about the fact that Mirio has basically lost his quirk. Because yeah, the episode reveals that the quirk bullets, or at least the ones they have left, have been perfected to completely erase quirks. And Mirio and the quirk bullet finally hits Mirio, and he loses his quirk in this episode, which in itself shows. Oh, well, don't get me wrong. In terms of the episode itself, like, Mirio kept on pushing and he kept fighting. But just the fact that he did do that also shows that things are really playing out how Night Eye told Izuku had told Izuku would go. Like, that Mirio is the better person to inherit One for All, and that when the time came, Izuku would accept that fact, that Mirio is the better person in order to inherit One for All. And but and this, in many respects, even though Izuku just arrived, this alone is the inciting incident to that. So it's going to be interesting to see what Mirio's response will be when that moment comes that Izuku offers One for All to him. Which, yeah, I basically know what's going to happen from here, and it's pretty damn heartbreaking. Let's put it that way. The other thing with the quirk bullets now, though, is that like, overhaul, he just kind of completely goes off the rails in this episode. He's gone completely insane. he's basically desperate in order to beat in order to survive this and move on with his plans. And through that, we get Overhaul, and through his insanity, and ironically, through basically Overhaul's like pretty much meant like deterioration of his sanity, you could say. We actually get Overhaul's unfiltered thoughts about what he thinks about quirks in society, which, yeah, definitely gives a lot of the impression that while his methods and outlook has been clearly twisted, you still get the sense that he is trying to help, that at the core, he is trying to help society by returning it back to a time before quirks, which arguably wouldn't completely fix the problem entirely, but at the same time, there really isn't any denying of the basic merit in it, because ever since quirks became the norm, there has been a very wide division created among the populace. Like, it's clear as day that quirks have been taken advantage of it in order to prop up heroes and in order to suppress villains. But what really gave society that right in order to do that to begin with? So yeah. One funny but and okay, so one final funny but interesting note to talk about is that in this episode, in the beginning of this episode, we get the explanation of how Twice's quirk functions, and this is one of those times where, when first reading it in the manga, I thought it was goofy and good for a laugh, but revisiting it, it's kind of one of those things where I still think it's goofy, but actually listening to the way Twice explains it is one of those details where you don't think about it all that much, but when you hear it out loud, it makes so much legitimate sense within the realms of the rules set up for how quirks work. And in this case, definitely Twice's quirk. In this case, for definitely Twice's quirk, it even answers the question of why Twice's clones get weaker the more clones he makes. So yeah, it's one of those weird little details you don't really think about, but when it's explained to you, it's like, holy shit, this makes so much freaking sense now. Like, it does. So yeah, just a nice funny little detail for sure. But yeah, guys, that's all I've got for this one. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Analyst, or Crunchyroll. Death Knight of Anime, signing off. Later, guys.